thank you very much, and Mr. Ranking Member, thanks for indulging me on that. Let's connect the dots between the lab to the warfighter, if you will, Dr. Holland. How does our supercomputing capability eventually help us win the fight?
Senator, the department as a whole has become, I would say, close to 50% computational in its scientific experimentation, if you will. So the supercomputing work that we do is fundamental to all of the services and to the work that the OSD organizations do. A good example would be the work that we did on the MRAP on the underbelly blast. There were multiple Army organizations that were involved in that. ERDC was one of those. The Army Research Laboratory, the Tank and Automotive Command folks were involved in that. Endless numbers of calculations were done, literally tens of millions of computing hours were used to do blast calculations. Those were then compared against very specific field studies at multiple scales to make sure that the calculations were validated. And then those were extended far beyond the range of what we would ever have been able to afford in terms of doing real field studies of full-scale calculations. From that, we made decisions on what the underbelly needed to look like for the MRAP. And that went to full production, and those solutions went to theater. And from that point forward, we've had, as a military, very few, if any, difficulties with IED issues with the MRAP. From that point forward, for the calculations that we believe in, that we've validated, we have the capability to make those types of decisions now through the use of supercomputing.
So that's just one example of a real success story there.
Yes, sir.
Let me then transition to some of your partnerships with academia. And particularly, I'd like for the members of the subcommittee to understand your collaboration with historically black institutions like Jackson State University. How has this worked with Jackson State on cyber defense and big data analytics? And can you comment on the larger partnership with the historically black colleges and universities?
Yes, Senator. ERDC in particular has educational partnership agreements with 13 historically black colleges and universities and minority serving institutions across the nation. One of those, and one of the longest standing ones, is with Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. JSU has been at various times either first or second among the research universities in HBCU MIs in the country. ERDC's relationship with them touches cyber, touches computational chemistry areas, and those things touch several of the military applications that ERDC is involved in. Those relationships go back probably 25 years into my memory.
What would those applications be? An example of that?
Those range from environmental quality issues related to cleanup of military ranges to keep those ranges open, all the way up to specific applications on the classified side to cybersecurity issues, Senator. And those are very strong partnerships. There are even extensions of those that go into Homeland Security that involve Jackson State University. So we have been able to meld those relationships. For example, ERDC actually openly provides the library to the Jackson State Engineering School that allowed it to be accredited under ABET accreditation. So there's a strong integration that exists with Jackson State, has been for many years.
Well, thank you very much. Let me see if I can squeeze in another question in the minute. Dr. Montgomery, the Naval Research Lab at Stennis Space Center has worked closely with Naval Oceanography to develop cutting-edge unmanned underwater vehicle, or UUV, systems. Talk about that, and do you believe the Navy and the NRL will increasingly emphasize UUV research and development?
Absolutely. The depths of the ocean are profound. The reach is vast. That in order to be able to access areas which are otherwise denied, we need to be able to have vehicles that can span large spaces, that can operate underwater for very long periods of time, that have the intelligence to be able to deal with the unforeseen, the mountain like the San Francisco that didn't appear on the charts that they were using and to detect it. So the NRL is working with the Office of Naval Research on large diameter UUVs, which are using hydrogen power and a GE fuel cell based engine of 95 kilowatts, which uniquely we've been provided by General Motors to do this, which can provide payload carrying capabilities to large distances and large payloads. Other approaches in the research area are taken where air vehicles are designed to penetrate with GPS precision into denied areas at bird-like speed so they don't show up on radar, and then insert themselves into the ocean and become a UUV already where you want to do your sensing with the ability to bring things back out, the information that you gain. This is critically important. It's going to proliferate wildly worldwide, not just what we will do in the U.S., but potential adversaries will be doing that as well for undersea mapping, for sensors and detection of hostile forces underwater, and to penetrate into denied areas. Really cool area.
Right.
Thank you very